Good morning, everybody. It is Wednesday, November 19th. We are expecting some severe weather to impact the southern to central U.S. today, with a 2% tornado risk being outlined in far southern Texas and a large marginal risk stretching from Texas up into southwestern Missouri areas. I'm going to be breaking down all that in this forecast video. Let's get started. Here is the day one SPC outlook. As you guys you can see that marginal stretching from far southwest Texas all the way up into Oklahoma, Missouri, even Kansas areas in this slight risk. If we go to our 2% our tornado risk, we have a small 2% tornado risk for southwestern Texas right here, with a few tornadoes being possible. Major it will be wind and hail, though we do have a large 5% damaging wind risk that stretches across most of Texas and southern Oklahoma. And then we have that large 5% hail risk stretching all the way up into southwestern Missouri, which is what this marginal risk stretching to Missouri is based off of, is this hail risk. So our main risk is going to be wind and hail. Pretty low in threat overall, but there still is a chance for tornadoes today, so I decided to make a forecast video for today. I will show you guys what our models are showing also. Here is the latest HRRR weather model run. It's basically just our close range weather model. We can see that our reflectivity. I'll first show Texas and Oklahoma areas, and then I'll go up to Kansas and Missouri. We can see once we get into around 8 p.m., you can see some cells start to fire off in Texas, some supercells start to fire off in northern Texas, northwest Texas. And then by around pretty late actually, it's going to be mostly an overnight threat. 10 to 11 p.m., maybe even 12. You can see a line of storms start to develop over here in Texas, in southwest Texas, and multiple discrete cells up here in Oklahoma and also in northwest Texas. I would not be surprised if we got a 15% damaging wind risk, a slight with a wind-driven risk zone for this line of storm down here in Texas, where there is that 2% tornado risk also. And it's also looking like we could possibly have some severe weather all the way up into Thursday afternoon over here in Arizona, Texas, with lines of storms in Oklahoma, Texas and Oklahoma, until around early Friday morning, late Thursday night, is when these storms start to mainly die out. It is just scattered showers. Looks like it's pretty active weather for Texas and Oklahoma over the next few days. I also look at our cape real quick. Here is our surface-based cape. This is basically what our storms use to fuel themselves. Is a short explanation of it. You definitely see, if we go into the overnight hours, when the storms start to fire, you definitely have about 1,000, 2,000 cape in northwestern and southwestern Texas. Definitely some decent cape. Let's look at our bulk shear real quick also. Here is our bulk shear. Looks like it's basically a shear driven event, which is usual with these QLCS type of setups. We have about 40, 50 knots of bulk shear. Definitely a lot of bulk shear, which is going to be mainly driving these wind QLCS threats from a cold front. We also look at our significant tornado parameters real quick. Here is our significant tornado parameters. Definitely, if we go ahead time, you see actually some pretty decent significant tornado parameter numbers in southwestern Texas. Sorry guys, my dog is barking. But you can see some 3s and 2s in southwestern Texas, where we have that line of storms which could pose a pretty decent tornado threat. So I would not be surprised if we got a slight risk for severe weather. Let's look at our areas in the northern states and central states in Kansas and Missouri. Here is what the HRRR is showing for these areas in Kansas and Missouri areas. Go ahead in time. Mostly scattered storms up here. Like there's a small chance for some discrete cells, which will pose a hail risk, but very, very scattered storms. I'm not expecting anything crazy up here, honestly, in these areas. Mainly, by the time these storms get up here, they will be much, much weaker. Looks like mainly in the morning to afternoon hours we could have some discrete cells in southwestern Missouri areas where we could have some strong hail, but besides that, by the time storms get up here, they'll be much weaker. I'm not expecting a huge event for Missouri in Kansas. Definitely be aware and have a backup plan for severe weather if you're in any risk zones, no matter what. If you're in a marginal or slight risk, does not matter. I would not be surprised if we got a slight risk on the latest update. I am recording this video a little bit early, so if there is an update, I likely will just put that in the comment on the pinned comment. But it's looking like a pretty low down event. Nothing super crazy. Main threat will be damaging wind and hail, but shows are definitely still a possibility with this type of setup. We also look at our GFS model and we look at our jet stream, see if we have any other severe weather setups we are seeing in the future. Here's the GFS weather model. This is a long form weather model. So we actually have a little bit of a trough digging down. The severe weather in Texas is going to be caused by a low pressure system come off the Pacific. That's going to be helping cause that severe weather risk for the 20th, so for today and tomorrow. You see that trough digs in that low pressure system, and then you see another low pressure system up here to the north of Canada, which could bring some core temperatures down into the Ohio Valley areas. We're mainly going to have these little severe weather setups, which is lows coming off the coast, off the Pacific, and heading up, and possibly causing severe weather across central to Midwest areas in the U.S. Looking like we may have at the end of the GFS model on the 27th, so this is over 2 weeks out, so we've taken a very big grain of salt. Has a big Arctic cold blast coming in, which is what multiple models are possibly pointing at, maybe a jet disturbance, so a polar jet disturbance, sorry, which could cause much colder temperatures and possibly even snow in the Midwest and in the northern states. We'll have to see if that actually goes through though, but many models are pointing that out right now. That's going to be all for this forecast. Thank you all for watching, and make sure you guys like and subscribe for more forecasts.